A lot of guys don't step out of a business doing, 7 figures a year to go start an OFM. It's usually either a person making decent money in a job, wanting to get into this because there is some startup capital that's required. And a lot of guys' first initial incentive is, I'm just going to push, 14-hour days, grinding all the time.
It can be positive, but it's not sustainable.
Guys think that the answer to getting that solution is signing more clients, but they don't realize that your problems multiply. Your revenue never multiplies with creators. These guys, gurus as they're called, they sell so much information that worked for them 2 years ago, but it's not going to work for everybody.
I spend most of my time doing content research. That's just what I do. And that's what most of the bigger agency owners do, is they sit there a couple hours a day and just look at content within your model's space, right? For each model that you have, and doing that deep research. That's a huge piece, because without knowing what's happening, you're never going to be able to predict virality.
I wish somebody like myself, like you, came to me and was like, Griffin, your focus, your job is not an OnlyFans manager. Your job is to fucking know social media like the back of your hand. So I've got Jason here to introduce you guys.
What's up, brother?
Into him. Yeah. This is going to be a long conversation, a very valuable conversation about OnlyFans management, about where the space is going, about our backgrounds, about things that we've done in the space. But first, for clarity for everybody, let's kind of introduce ourselves. Jason, for you, man, how long have you been in the game? How old are you?
For sure.
What's your kind of background?
Yeah, so I'm 26. I've been in the game for 4 years. We met, 2 years ago now at this point. It's been a good 2 years we've been working together.
It has. I think the biggest thing is honestly something that we'll get into later is the age that we're doing this at and what we're building. But a little background on me, if you haven't watched any content from me previously. Griffin, 20 years old, generated with Jason millions of dollars through OnlyFans management. And we've been in the space, a little over 4 years for you, a little around that 3 years mark for me. Now, the biggest thing, I do have some notes just to make sure that this is as valuable as possible for you guys watching to continue with this value. So I think one thing that people would be interested to know is how we actually met. So I'll take it back to that time. We, for those of you who don't know, met on Instagram. It wasn't kind of like a normal way to meet, but tell the guys how we met, what started the relationship, why we even got in contact in the first place.
Yeah, so Griffin, I think, had 200 subscribers on YouTube at the time when we met. And I just, at the end of his videos, he wanted to connect with other agency owners. So I just reached out to him, honestly, on Instagram. And then it just turned into a pretty tight friendship first, just talking about the business overall, which, led into a successful business venture together.
I think it definitely did. Yeah, most definitely. Now, I do want to ask you, man, in terms of partnerships, because a lot of guys, they approach this business model very solo. In terms of partnerships, do you think that's something that guys should be looking for in this space? Because I think with me being in a partnership with you and me being a leading industry content creator, spreading advice in this industry, that a lot of guys might go down that funnel. But I have my own unique stance on whether or not people should have partnerships in this business.
It's not black or white, right? It's our situation makes sense. There's equal value. A lot of times people want a business partner simply just for the fact of having the accountability, right, of someone else being in that group, right, together. You don't need it. It's not bad. There's really no right answer, to be honest. But for me, I have found that in my beginning phases, most partnerships didn't work out because value just was not equal or split up properly, right? Who's working on what. It can't just be we are doing everything together. Yeah. Right? There needs to be an equal exchange, and it's got to make sense. For us, it's made sense, but in other situations that I've had prior, I've had 2 business partners in this industry before, prior to our relationship, and those just didn't work out because the value didn't make sense.
Yeah, the value, and also in this business model, at the end of the day, your social media management, right? Once you repeat the back end past that subscriber wall, there's not a lot of stuff that 2 people need to be constantly handling. So it needs to make sense, like you said, in the business. For us, to give you guys more context, we met when I was doing around $75,000, $80,000 a month. Jason was doing about $100,000, and it made the most sense that we merged our agencies together because he had a more predictive framework in the back end, making operations behind the paywall. I had a more predictive framework in the marketing, producing clients on Instagram, making them influencer status, as people say. And so our joint together kind of just co-handedly complemented each other, which I think a lot of guys, they overlook, and they're just saying, it's almost out of a place of fear of like, oh, I need this business partner because like I don't want to make all the decisions myself, which is never something that you should go down.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So before we get into what everybody's wanted to hear, what we think about marketing, how our ideology, our decision making, our ideation process works with content, because that is the backbone of what we do, right?
Yeah.
Without the ability to understand content, to get into content, to, for lack of better terms, make these clients influencers, you need to understand what the wrong move is first. Because if you don't understand what's wrong in this business model and like the false beliefs, because how many opinions are there in this space, bro?
Too many, bro.
Way too many.
Oh my God.
There's like guys.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting. There's guys preaching no social media, black hat, organic.
Yeah, there's still guys talking about doing dating apps, bro.
It's absolutely nuts. So first thing, I want to talk about volume. That's a word that gets thrown around in the space constantly, day in, day out. Volume, grinding, 14-hour days, things like that,
Sure.
rather than, I guess people don't really look at the rather. So for you, explain to me, if an agency owner is watching this, right, working 14 hours a day, and they're thinking that that is the right way to scale their agency, grinding. What would you tell that person? Because like for me, in my experience, volume has never really been the answer. It's been the stepping stone for me to get an answer.
And
to
I'm
eliminate.
assuming we're making the assumption that those 14 hours are working in and not working on. Correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So like talk to me about why do you think that so many guys get the conception that volume, working 14 hours a day, grinding endlessly is the right move? Because like any young business owner, because let's admit it, a lot of guys don't step out of a business doing, 7 figures a year to go start an OFM. It's usually either a person making decent money in a job, wanting to get into this, because there is some startup capital that's required. And a lot of guys' first initial incentive is, I'm just going to push, 14-hour days, grinding all the time. Like, why is that almost a negative in certain cases? It can be positive, but like for you.
It can be positive, but it's not sustainable, right? Like, I've done that. You've done that. We've all been there, done that.
It is
but
required.
Yeah, it is required at a certain point. But I do recommend doing that until you get to a certain point where you then have the ability to just hire people. Because like, you kind of have to do that in the beginning. You have to do that up until a certain point in it. But once you're able to hire the right people and delegate all those tasks that you are doing to someone else, right? Whether that's content planning, content posting. And I mean, the back end of the chatting stuff is where most guys are just spending so much time. Like they're sitting there watching their chatters all day, yelling at chatters, hiring chatters, scrambling in the middle of the night, trying to figure out like why no one's on shift and why there's reply times of like 10 minutes happening. Like, you don't want to, that's just not a way to live.
Yeah. And the fact that they get their teeth so sunk into the business model by doing that. Because ultimately, what are you doing when you're working on everything inside of the business? You're essentially requiring that pipeline of the flow for the agency to work to include you in it, right? And guys, they start out with that, but they don't know how to lift themselves above that. It's almost like, think of it, the way that I like to think of it is having a pipeline of your agency, right? From content production to getting fans in to selling in the chats. It's a flow, right? At the end of the day, it's a flow. And guys put themselves early in the game in that flow because they require for it. They can't spend the money that they can to hire. They can't delegate those tasks yet, and you shouldn't. The part that agencies fall into the trap is, and even for me for a few months, is not realizing that you're almost burying yourself with work that you will have to eventually take yourself out of if you want to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Because like I know guys making like 50, 60K a month, cut that in 50%, it's 30, cut that by, semi-employee costs, you're at like 20. Cool, you're making $20,000 a month. But if your agency requires yourself in that process, working 14 hours a day, you're an employee. You know what I mean? You're not a business owner. For us to be able to fly, go places.
At $20,000 a month, that's not like worth it in my opinion.
No.
Yeah, no, like if you're grinding that kind of, those hours, that stress level, like where your attention is fully on the agency 7 days a week, you better be bringing in a lot of fucking money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
But even when you get to that level though, like you don't want to live like that.
No.
There's just no point.
There's no point in that.
Yeah, and also you can only scale so much because you're one person, right? So if you're at 50K and you're scrambling every 7 days a week and you are the one driving the business forward based off of the effort that you're putting in every single day, you're not going to be able to continue to scale.
No.
Like you're not going to get to that 100K without having things delegated and systems like in place.
Exactly. And I think a lot of guys' first thought to get themselves almost out of it, it's contradictive. Guys think that the answer to getting that solution is signing more clients. And this usually happens when guys are making 10 to 30K per month because they have, maybe 1 or 2 clients that they've got to 5K, 8K, and they're like, if I just get 10 more clients to 5K and 8K, all of a sudden $100,000 a month. But then they don't realize that your problems multiply. Your revenue never multiplies with creators because whatever issues you're having managing like 2, 3 models, for instance, when I had about 2 clients, right, before I merged with you, I was spending probably 10 hours a day working on these clients where they're handling issues.
On
chatters.
2 clients?
2 clients.
I don't think you ever told me that.
No, I haven't because I'm sure I've mentioned it here or there, but the biggest reason for that is I was in the pipeline. And the problem for me, and I want to talk to any agency owner watching this who has this, perfect paralysis. The thought pattern behind I have to do this job because I know I can do it perfectly and I'm not going to put somebody else in that shoe if the task doesn't get done as well. But what you're essentially saying there is that your time is less valuable outside of the business than inside of the business, which essentially you're signing yourself up to be an employee. You have to be able, I would rather delegate a task instead of it getting done at 100% perfection, right? By me doing it. I would rather get that task done at 85, 90% perfection, leave room for errors and growth, whatever, not purposefully, but just that's what happens when you hire, and eliminate myself so I can allocate that time to growing the business and scaling the creators even further. Because you only have 24 hours in a day. And I think that's what a lot of guys don't realize is when you add more creators, your problems that you've already signed yourself up for are going to multiply no matter what.
Yeah, they're just going to compound.
Yeah. So
until something breaks too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a hints of vertical before horizontal. That's what I believe in, is taking 3 creators, max, maybe 4, to 20, 30, 40K a month each, and then looking at the horizontal. And that's when you've maxed out what you can with those creators. Because for us, we'll get into this storyline here in a second, even more in detail, but we lost one of our biggest clients 2.5 months ago, right? Our agency income went down 50%.
Roughly. Yeah.
We restructured.
Big
client, huge client. We restructured. We're now at 13 clients. We've signed an influx of creators. And now we're single-handedly working on each creator, taking, for instance, from 2K to 60K. Another client, $200, $300 a month to 15K. We're scaling each one individually, one at a time. Because guys, they don't realize in this business model, you can't go horizontal without having a predictive framework to scale a creator.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that was really healthy for us to lose that bigger client because it made us realize that we needed to have systems in place in order to make sure that we can take any creator from 0 or whatever point they're at and genuinely scale them, right? Because prior to that, we were kind of in that phase to a degree, right? And then we came in, now we're able to have predictive income. The problem with the vertical scale, right, is simply too much risk in one client, right? With the way that we've taken our approach now, with systemizing everything from the content planning all the way to the posting, all in a pipeline, all outsourced to employees. If we lose a client today, it's really not that big of a deal.
No.
It's not, because also if we sign somebody, we know that we can rinse and repeat the same exact thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the biggest...
It's predictable.
It's a predictive framework that we've developed. And I feel like we thought we did have a predictive framework with the 4 clients that we were managing because, doing $250,000 a month, it's hard not to get a big ego. What we do fucking works, right? Because even though we did have a client responsible for about 50%, we still have these other clients doing $50,000, $60,000 a month. So it's what we do fucking works.
Yeah.
But it was losing that and then having to start clients again from 0. Because ultimately, we're not going to go out and sign influencers already making 30, 40K a month, right? You have to be able to take clients from 0 even to having,
That's
10.
the best way to do it. Because also you're not going to get a good sized management fee if you want to work with the creator already making 50K.
For instance, that client that we just signed, we have to lock in at 30%. We're not handling content or anything like that, just chatting. But still, we're going to get that lower percent because they already have that established.
Correct. Yeah, you can't just expect to hop on an account and charge them 40, 50%.
And another thing that comes along with that is retention, right? Like when you take a client from 2K and you fulfill on that promise, you know, for instance, the girl, you know, I can't obviously mention her name, but that we've taken to $60,000 a month, she's never leaving our agency now. Like she has developed that trust. Like there's obviously.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. I completely agree. I mean, when you just putting yourself in the shoes of a creator that's been with multiple agencies, never got the result they wanted. They've been in the industry for nearly as long as us, right? And have never made more than $8,000 her best month. And that was, you know, a year ago. When you actually meet an agency that says, yeah, we are going to do this for you, like that fucking sticks out. Like, dude, like there's no, it just, you know what I mean? Like, why would you ever leave at that point?
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the hard part about this business model is like with the influx of opinions, it's going to attract a higher number of people wanting to start the business model. And that is a reason, and we're going to get into this topic really deep about how low the trust is in this industry right now. Yeah. Very low. You get agency owners and you know, our models accounts get what, 20, 30 DMs from agencies every single day?
The bigger ones from more, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have some of the biggest agencies DMing our clients, and it's a matter of just you get all these false promises. And so these creators, they don't know who to actually spend their time talking to, actually give the time of day to, right?
Yeah.
And so that's why I think, one, having a system for how you actually go about signing clients has to be dialed in, because if it's messy, the creator's going to feel that, right? Whether or not she knows exactly what's wrong with your onboarding process, she's going to feel that you don't have a system, right? So the biggest thing is developing that professionalism early, fulfilling on trust, setting the right expectations is huge as well, and then delivering on that actual promise that you did.
That's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned was just in the beginning, simply not delivering on the promises that we made.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where most agencies are living now. And that's why so many creators have huge distrust in our industry overall.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd say I'd even learn that from you too, man. Like you have, you know, I'll admit we've been on calls before. I'm like, Jason, let's just like, she's clearly wanting to hear XYZ, you know, wanting to hear, oh, we'll get you to 50K a month, wanting to hear, oh, it'll be 2 months long. But you were like, it's not worth that creator leaving in 2 months, us putting all this upfront work, upfront money, upfront time, just for her to leave our agency because of this false expectation that we started. Correct. Like we set almost broader expectations, you know, 3-4 months until you're really starting to grow on social media. But reality, we do that in 30 days. You know, we want to set that longer expectation. We want to set that realistic timeline for these clients so that we develop more trust. And it's a pattern interrupt because everyone else, what are they promising? 30 days, $100,000. Like we're sticking out by being more realistic.
Yeah. But then those agencies too, though, just simply don't have the predictability as well, right? Like they're making these promises and they know they're not going to deliver on the promises. And that's just like, you could sense that, dude, on a sales call, right? Like
subconsciously you can sense that.
We hop on sales calls, like we call them discussions, right? They're not sales calls. Like we will share our inflow. We're just going to explain to you everything that's going to happen in order to get you to your goal. And we set realistic expectations. Like we know that we can take a creator from wherever they're at and let's say the 2K, right? 2K to the 60K. We knew we could get her to that point, but we told her it would take 3 to 4 months so that we have a realistic expectation in her mind. And then we exceeded that expectation because we know that we can get you to those numbers in a month, 2 months, but we have to set the right expectation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're just going to be like, what the fuck, dude?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I used to, when I first got started, bro, I would just tell people that like, yo, we're going to bring you to these numbers in like a month. And then just genuinely try, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't have that predictable system that like we have now. So it's just it's a different game.
It really is. I want to take that word, predictable framework. I think a lot of what we do, it's custom dependent. Me and you both know this. Every situation, even for students that I coach, it's a custom dependent framework. That's why, honestly, the space in OFM, like regarding info, it has so much shade over it because people sell one information that worked for them. You know, these guys, gurus, as you know, they're called, they sell so much information that worked for them 2 years ago, but it's not going to work for everybody. Everybody has their own custom situation. It depends on the client. It depends on the agency owner. It depends on your geographical location. What is needed to be developed is an overhead system that you plug those custom dependencies in. For instance, you plug the creator's niche in, you plug the creator's brand in, you plug her location and what the ability of her can be. And so I want to talk to you about that because I think that's the real difference between an agency doing 20, 30K a month and an agency consistently hitting 6 figures every single month, is the ability to have a predictive framework that produces a consistent result. Talk to me about like your main differences that you see in agencies doing 20 to 30 and even related to your own personal story versus now that you're, past 6 figures a month.
Yeah, what they're doing, man, that's like you could take that in so many directions.
100%.
Right? Social media wise, chatting wise.
Let's start with social media.
Yeah. So I think what a lot of guys are not doing is the dirty work. And what I mean by the dirty work is like literally the fucking research you're in the trenches on social media watching what's happening every single day, right? Like we speak to students all the time and the amount that don't just genuinely do content research, even know what that word even means, right? That's a huge thing alone. I spend most of my time doing content research. Like that's just like what I do. And that's what most of the bigger agency owners do is they sit there a couple hours a day and just look at content within your model's space, right? For each model that you have and doing that deep research. That's a huge piece because without knowing what's happening, you're never going to be able to predict virality at all.
You have to be in tune with the market. And when I say market, I mean just social media trends.
Yeah.
Like
even like right now, the shift towards authenticity, the shift towards audience first, interest-based content. We knew this was happening a long time ago. Now everyone wants to talk about it. It's crazy to me because like these guys are not genuinely honed in on what is happening.
Yeah. And the reason being is they just don't understand the core concepts. Like for me and you have to, I think a big part of this is being able to have immense pattern recognition, seeing how the world is subtly, clicking, and then being able to jump 4 steps forward, start there. Because then you're going to catch the early wave, trends blowing up early before, then it just becomes a conglomerate of everybody else doing it. For instance, the wave of AI, right? We're early in the AI space. This is going to get more and more and more, even months down the road. But with the wave of AI, the human nature in the world is craving authenticity. They're craving that raw human connection, right? And not just like take OnlyFans out of the equation. In general, if like even in info, now that I've started to grow my personal brand, started my content, I have shifted from the, what's going on guys today? Like, all fake, persona.
Yeah.
All gone to just Griffin. No bullshit, direct, say what I want, do what the fuck I want, act how the fuck I want, act who I am. And people respect me for that because I'm not putting on a persona, right? So you have to take that, have the pattern recognition to see that that's the shift in the industry of social media, and then produce that for your clients as well. And I want to talk to you about, with 20K a month agencies, I feel like their ideation process with content is very, very messed up. And just meaning, when I say 20K a month agencies, guys who haven't been in the game for years, guys who don't do content research, like they're posting 99% just sexual content about the client.
And also they're just literally copy Sophie Rand. Right?
That's all they do. And they don't create a unique client in the industry. Like you need to attach, and I want to talk to you about these words: persona, branding, and niche. I feel like is 3 things that should be put in there. Now, brand is something that your niche and your persona is going to create. But the word persona, I think, is honestly one of the most important things that I think of when content, because content works in 1,000 different ways. We can talk for hours about, how content actually works with viral elements and whatnot. But the key thing to have your creator stick out in the industry is having a persona, developing a set of personality types that you're going to imply in every single video. For instance, like our clients, if she is a bold, outgoing, Asian, energetic client, that's going to show in every single video, no matter what content type we're doing. So the fan that we're attracting is a specific type of person. You have to reverse engineer that. We were talking about this yesterday with first defining the fan that you want to attract with that persona, and then having that in the background of your head when ideating content.
Yeah, it's audience first.
Yeah.
That's what people are missing out on.
100%. Sure. And like you have to attach that persona to everything that you do. Like, for instance, if you did a talking head video about, let's just say, something about a boyfriend, right? A funny, shy girl, like a funny, nonchalant, shy girl, is going to produce that same exact video, that same exact content type, entirely different than a energetic, extroverted, outgoing girl, right? So that has to be defined first, is that backbone of your content, and then base everything off that. Like, I believe with social media, it works in elements. Like, you take certain elements from people and you use it to conform one sort of identity. Brand is what they call it. And a lot of guys try and start at the very top. They try and start at brand, and then they just make it too broad. Oh, she's a cooking, fun girl. What the fuck is that, right? Like, you have to make your brand your name. Like, my brand is Griffin. Your brand is Jason. Sophie, Rain, brand. Camilla, brand. That's what people don't understand, is your brand is not your niche. It's not your content type.
It's just you.
It's just you,
Yeah.
right? So you have to develop who you are first and let that imply in every single piece of content type that you do. Because then you're going to, by nature, stick out in the market because nobody else is you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so honestly, I think just because we're obviously going to get into chatting departments, we're going to get into hiring, we're going to get into all of that stuff. But like we were discussing earlier, that's way more of a predictive framework. It's something you develop once and you use it for the timeline of your agency once it's proven to work, right?
To a degree, yeah. I mean, it's almost more like a skill, man. To be honest,
100%.
You can't put it in a how-to manual.
I definitely
Right.
do agree with that. It's something that you have to experience a multitude of times. But to go into things that I think this industry just has totally wrong, social media marketing, the ability to get an Instagram account from 0 to 50K followers in a month is a skill that agency owners just don't have. So volume content, focus on the model's body, sexuality of the client, producing what I like to call 2019, 2018 OnlyFans management, right? Moving backwards or moving forwards in today's market is attaching a persona, a brand. Walk people through, because I think you have a really interesting perspective on this, how you think about content. Like, if you are onboarding a creator, when you have that content meeting, what's your day before look like when you're ideating to prepare for that content meeting with that creator? What does the meeting actually look like with that content creator? What are you discussing, and why are you discussing certain things that you're discussing in that?
So there's two scenarios though, right? You have the creator that has data, and you have the creator that has no data. Let's go into the one with data. When I say data, I mean they've been posting for a while, and we can do a ton of research into their accounts they've been posting on for a while and simply find winning patterns to know that if we focus on changing little things within the content they've already been doing and replicating it, that we can increase the odds of going viral at the end of the day. Does that make sense? Right? And
so you're taking the previous social media content, dissecting what worked, what didn't, looking at what worked,
correct.
and seeing how you can plug
but
in more viral
not
elements.
as simple as just, yo, this one did better than this one. Right?
Absolutely not. Yeah,
because the one that has more views might have actually not been the one that should be going the most viral, right?
100%.
Just because you have more views doesn't necessarily mean that that video is the one that we should continue to replicate. But finding those patterns from all of the videos and incorporating it into their future videos, right? So that's much easier though, because they already have data to look at and say, if we just make these changes, if we implement this hook, let's say from this reel into this next reel, change this up, change the lighting, change makeup, change hair, change this, then it's just way easier. Like, we know that we can make you viral just by looking at that. But most creators that even we speak to now don't necessarily have a ton of data, but we speak with ones that the ones that don't have the data, right? Then it's more or less leading with, who are you?
Exactly.
Right? So this comes back to what you said about brand, where we want to understand who the fuck they are, on a human level, right? Like, who the fuck are you, right? What makes you interesting? What do you like? What do you not like? Because when you are creating a plan for your creators, they need to genuinely fuck with the content that they're doing. Otherwise, it simply won't be sustainable. They won't want to do it for a long period of time, right? And this kind of actually goes back to what we said earlier, where you're going to burn out if you're working 14 days, right? Because like nobody genuinely, 14 days, 14 hours per day, you're genuinely not going to want to fucking do that, right? So the creators, if they're making like super hypersexual content, but they don't really fuck with doing that, how long are they really going to do that for? There are some creators that'll just be like, fuck it, I'll just do it. But it's actually a beautiful thing that we're experiencing in the market now, where consumers of content don't actually even want to see that as much, right? They simply don't anymore, right? The hypersexuality is just not what people want.
Same as it was,
yeah, just like people don't spend as much money on that anymore.
And like I'm thinking, it's coming from the subconscious mind, knowing where the world is going with the AI, because so much stuff people are having to question now. Like this is the first time where, as a society, we are being drilled in, taught to question: is this AI? Is this real? Should I trust this? Because, like we were speaking about before we came here, was that in info, for instance, it was so easy to just be like, I have this product, this is what I do, this is it. If you want it, come get it, right? And the guys were more gravitated towards that. But then people got caught lying. Then people got caught not being honest. And like the trust just eventually crippled and just went down and down and down. And then with surge of AI, people are now craving that authenticity. And so we have to engineer that and say, okay, if they're craving that authenticity, the best way is just to give them that, right? Who are you?
But now also people have control. Previously, up until recently, when Instagram has implemented like their new AI algorithm, it wasn't interest based. You were just looking at content that you were being forced to watch, essentially. You're being forced to watch the reels that would pop up on your like For You page or on your Reels tab or whatever. But now Instagram is so powerful, you can get it to show you whatever you're interested in, right? And then subconscious mind, like you're saying, you are going to start to see the content that you're interested in, even if you're not purposely searching for it, right? It's interest based. That's exactly what happens on social media now. So that people were seeing the sexual content, but now Instagram has just made it so easy to figure out if someone actually likes that content, right?
Exactly.
Like you just blend the fuck in too with the crowd, bro.
Yeah.
Like you just blend in with the crowd.
You have to like I'll be on calls with students sometimes, and they'll be posting a video where it's like, same video that's been just redone 1,000 different ways for 5 years, right? Just since social media started, whether dancing with a caption on the screen, like the most simple shit. And I'll directly tell them, you're not going to be successful with this. Could you get $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000? Sure, right? You're gonna get guys to the OnlyFans. That's just what this is. If you want to turn this to a business, you have to stand out. You have to have clients that you know. You have to have clients that you can describe. I think that's a big thing. Guys can't even describe to me their model. They're like, oh, I texted her a few times. Like,
what do you mean by that? Can't describe?
I'm saying how when we get on calls with models, what do we ask? Who are you? What are your interests? What do you like to do? When a guy comes up to you at a bar, says this, how do you react? We want to understand that so that we can then reverse engineer and develop the content from that perspective, right? But when guys don't know your client, how are you going to do that? You can't reverse engineer anything. You have to just go off of what everyone else is doing. And then you, like you said, blend in.
It's asking the right questions to your creator, right? Like
if somebody wanted to get the right information from your creator, what is a great question or questions that they can ask them in order to do that?
So when we were speaking about the audience first, right? It also needs to be male dominated, right? If you ask your creator, what are your interests? A lot of times you're going to be met with things that are female dominated, right? Which is not the audience that we're looking to attract, right? But it really depends on the creator, because some creators just have like interests that are male dominated, but some don't, right? I can give you a for instance of a creator that I just spoke with recently. And I asked her, like, what are you interested in? And she just said traveling, fashion, some other like, feminine
The
audience.
basics.
Yeah, right? The
What every
basics.
other girl is
But then I
interested in.
reframed it and asked her, when a guy meets you, let's say at a bar, what's an interest that he learns about you that you tell them that a lot of guys kind of light up and they're like, holy shit, you're actually interested in that? And the guy is interested in it, not just because he wants to sleep with you or some bullshit, but because he's genuinely like, you're interested in that? And that was able to actually pull out an interest that she had that she didn't even say when I asked her interest on like a high level, like, what are your interests, right? Like she was able to pull it out and tell me, then that was actually male dominated, that specific thing. And we're using that actively now for.
Yeah. And to give you guys a little bit of insight, just to explain it even more, it was a TV show that is watched by, predominantly males.
No, yeah, just fucking Game of Thrones, bro.
Game of Thrones. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Didn't really know because we haven't really started the client. Yeah. But Game of Thrones. So predominantly male watched. Obviously, there's a female
There's like
audience
40
as well.
million monthly users to this day, and they don't even make episodes.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
Absolutely insanely popular. And so if we can take that niche in a way, but also content type.
That audience that watches that show.
Exactly, right? And then develop a persona attached to that. Because I think a lot of guys, they mess up the niche with the persona. They go so hard into the niche, right? Cooking, and that's the girl's personality. Like they don't show a personality behind it. And OnlyFans is about a connection, right? Like that's the biggest thing. So if you can develop that connection, like you're saying, attracting a certain fan, prior to the OnlyFans, you have a higher LTV. You have more subscribers staying longer on your page.
The thought process behind audience first is really like sex is going to be a byproduct of that, right? Like, you date a girl, you go on a date because you have similar interests maybe, right? And you're interested in that person, right? Then eventually things might lead back to home where sex becomes a byproduct of the relationship, right? But the basis was that you guys had commonality, you were interested in some of the same things, there was overlap, right? So therefore you're going to consume, let's go back to the creators, consume more content from someone that has a genuine interest. They just so happen to be a pretty girl with double D's, and then she happens to have an OnlyFans, and then it just so happens to be that the byproduct of being interested in someone is sex. Exactly. So eventually they spend, right? They're going to spend more money on that girl because they have interest, right? It's not just I like your body, right? It's you're hot, you're sexy, but also we're into the same things.
Exactly.
Right? Like that's I think when most guys like when they think of like the perfect partner, it's somebody that has similar interests.
Of course.
So therefore they're going to fill that void, to be honest, right?
Yeah.
With a creator.
No, I 100% do agree with that. And I think that's the understanding concept behind push versus pull marketing. Push is look at me, look at my body, look at the way that I'm doing this, go subscribe to my OnlyFans. Like their whole focus is just them, their body, the sexuality, the hypersexualityness of it, right? Pull marketing is this is who I am, this is what my interests are, this is what I look like, this is my personality, and I'm just going to attract people that like my interests, my personality, who I am. And then from that, people feel the sales resistance drops, the trust goes up, the more willingness to spend goes up, and it's all because you weren't pushing them to OnlyFans. You just were being who you are, knowing the back end of the agency's mind, we knew who we were trying to attract, but we just pulled them instead of just had a conglomerate of sexual, hypersexual content that pushes people.
I think that's what viewers might be missing here is that we're making content about Game of Thrones. Like we're not screaming, yo, I have an OnlyFans, yo, I have an OnlyFans, yo, here's my tits. Like, no, the tits just so happen to be there because she's a woman. Yeah. Right?
Implied.
Yeah, that's it. But like, it's audience first. It's Game of Thrones. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And then people just subscribe from there. Like, we don't have to shake ass anymore.
You don't. And it's better not to. You get higher spenders. You get more money out of it.
Exactly.
Our LTV, since we've really started developing this. And
some of these creators that are able to really execute on interest-based content, it's insane.
It's absolutely astronomical. All right. So before we fully exit social media, there's a topic that we haven't covered yet, which a lot of guys, I know I get questions about pretty much every single day. Paid promotion. Money.
Oh, paid
I made a few $1,000s with my agency. Griffin, I don't need the 500,000 I'm making. Should I just dump it all into ads? Should I dump it into another platform? Should I hire somebody with this money? Talk to me about paid promotion, and then we'll branch off into kind of the back end of hiring, operations, things like that agencies need to know. Paid promotion. What's your take on it?
Shit, bro, you're gonna have to probably redo that. We don't do paid promo.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's not really needed. Like we've done paid promo in the past for certain clients, but like
it's just like you're forcing people to look at the creator, right? So like the LTV on those ads are just so much lower than that same energy and time spent with other marketing channels that are organic, where you can attract the people organically that are interested in the creator for her interests or her looks. Yeah. Specifically her interests, right?
Yeah. And like I get a lot of guys, they ask me.
People want to solve these problems with like a pay to play. Like, no.
It doesn't work
like that. It used to. Like when I first started in this, dude, I used to do guaranteed gains where you could just pay another OnlyFans creator to shout you out on their page, and it would have a return on investment. And the return on investment would actually be like, dude, you could put $500 in that in a month. As long as it was a good promo, that $500 could turn into like a couple thousand.
Yeah.
Like insane. But those days are just kind of dead. Like people know agencies exist. The consumers of OnlyFans know that agencies exist. So when they hop on an OnlyFans account that's just doing all these shout outs, right? And that's what a guaranteed gain is, right? You're paying to get shout out on someone else's page. And typically they make a lot of money doing that. So they do a lot of promos. They're just throwing ads in front of all of their, in front of all of their fans, right? So then everyone is going to see that it's agency ran.
And we've seen the repercussions of it because it doesn't work anymore, right? It's like, to take it into a broader industry, it's like for instance, just to put it on me, it's like if I were to recommend a new CRM every single month. Yo, guys, this is the best CRM now for OnlyFans management. And then next month I was like, yo, this guy's got a new thing. This is the best. All of a sudden, with every single recommendation I'm doing, my trust for my recommendation is going lower and lower and lower subconsciously for the people, because it's like, this guy was a month here, now he's here, now he's here. And with shout outs, it's the same thing. With promo pages, the same thing. It's like, go subscribe to this girl, shout out this girl. And then like the fan eventually just realizes, okay, there's money behind this. This isn't just shouting this girl out, right? And people become more aware of the actual agency. Fans are more aware than ever of agencies. And that's why authenticity and trust is becoming more dominant, more winning, or dominantly winning in the market. And for the agencies that are doing, let's say, $50K a month, and they want to put their money into something, reinvestments wise, what would your top two, or just in general? It depends on
their needs. Like most likely it's hiring staff. Yeah, most likely it's just simply hiring staff. If you have 50K and you want to put it back into the agency to reinvest, like most likely it's going to be more staff.
That's something I do want to talk about. So running a chatting department, you've been pretty on top of, at least in our agency, the back end operation of the actual thing. Like obviously I'm more focused, for you guys who don't know, our dynamic is I'm more focused on the hire decisions, the bigger hires, more focused on social media, giving our agency the framework to produce a consistent and predictive result on social media pages so that we can have this system where we can grow these clients, right? You are more in the executionary parts of it, making sure the team is running, making sure everything is optimal. So I think you being inside of it more so would have the best angle on this. Chatting departments. How are guys totally flipped in the belief that like a chatting department is just hiring a cheap Filipino, slapping it on a page and calling it a day? Like, describe to me your thought process between hiring a team and managing a team in this business.
The difference between hiring and
Not
managing.
the difference, I guess more so of like, what's your thought process going into hiring a team? Like if you were to consult with an agency owner and tell them, this is how I do my hiring, managing, this is how I want you to think about it, what would those words be? I feel like it has an angle of hunger in it, not just experience. Like a lot of guys like go into the false beliefs that agencies have about hiring. Like, should they be hiring on Telegram? Should they be hiring, the cheapest employee that they can and just training them? Should they be training them every single week, or is it a waste of time? Just slap them on the page. Like, what are the false beliefs that maybe you previously were messing up with, mistakes that you did early in the game when developing a department versus now? And like what belief flips, what actual logistic changes did you have to make to get to a point where our chatting team runs 24/7, does, insane profits?
Yeah. I mean, even down to like the bare minimum. In the beginning, I didn't even have the right framework for scheduling the chatters, right? Because it's a 24/7 thing. And just figuring out also how to have the right schedule to the point where you can also have less employees on that schedule, right? So I think we have, for a team of chatters, it equals literally 3.5 people, okay? Opposed to the previous way we used to do it, which would be actually 4 people. And by having less people requires less training and less management of people themselves, right? One of the biggest levers that we pulled earlier on was hiring someone to manage the chatters on our behalf, meaning the accountability side, making sure they're showing up on time. If they have to take a day off, that's the person they communicate with, because that is where a lot of guys are stuck in their chatting department, is they're handling all that themselves. And that is a fucking 24-hour thing.
Yeah.
So you need to outsource that to someone. You need to hire someone to do that. And then additionally, the biggest thing that we've learned probably over this past year is tracking KPIs, right? This is LTV for each and every individual OnlyFans account so that we can gauge our chatting department overall, and then tracking individual KPIs on a chatter level to know who's performing the best. And then additionally, when we make changes in the agency, this could be implementing new scripts. This could be implementing new bonus incentives, right? Gamification within the agency. That if we make these changes, then based off of those KPIs, we now are able to say that change, did it work or did it not work? Did it help or did it hurt? Right? Does that, you know what I'm talking
100%,
about? That makes sense.
Yeah. It's developing you could say, black and whiteness of whether or not something is actually going to benefit the agency.
Yeah,
because
when you have to know your baseline.
When
Otherwise,
you don't,
if you
you're
try to
basing
change,
off feeling.
and you're fucked.
Yeah. If you don't know your data right now and you make a change, you are totally guessing on whether or not that change is beneficial. And, that changes in the way that you operate, that changes in the system. 1 is about changes. 2 is about, let's say, promoting people, for instance. Like if you don't know, every agency owner, I think, should know who's your best chatter, busiest shift on each OnlyFans account, LTV of each client.
Here's one thing too, really quick, is people gauge their best chatter based off the sales. They're like, yo, this guy brought in 2,000 in this shift. Yo, this guy's fucking nuts. Like, no, okay? Like he might not actually be the best. He just might be on the best shift.
Yeah.
Right? Like you need to know, like, okay, this guy made more money than the next guy, but what made him actually better, if he even is, right? So you need to know the right KPIs to use that are unbiased to the shift that they're on, the traffic that they're on, and also even knowing that maybe there's a specific whale on an account that's awake at that time, right? And then no shit, the guy's gonna make more money because the whale is online at that time, right?
Yeah.
And he spends maybe $1,000 every day, but so there's other ways to judge the chatters so that you can make sure that the best chatter that is more optimal is on the more important shift time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, what do you think is like immediate changes that a lot of agencies are probably doing, as in negative things that's leaving money like 20% on the table every single month? Because I think after talking to so many students, I've realized how many people overpay. I've realized how many people hire too many people. I realized they don't have any clue about KPIs in general. And, we're kind of dissecting that right now. But some of the commonest mistakes in the chatting is just leaving money on the table, because the hard work is social media management, producing that traffic to get to that point. And you need your chatting locked in, or else you're just leaving money on the table. Your efforts are not being fully exercised to the maximum amount of profit.
Yeah, you can bring in as much traffic as you want, but if you can't convert on that traffic within the OnlyFans, then what's the point?
There's no point, exactly. Yeah. So a lot of what it comes down to is what we were speaking about earlier is, knowing your KPIs to give you the right answers, right? Because KPIs, what do? They don't tell you where things are broken. They just tell you what is broken. You go and fix that, right? It's not going to fix it for you. It's just going to give you the data you need to make your decision. And so I think one of the biggest parts of it is knowing who your best employee is. So then you can reverse engineer it. Like, why is this my best employee? Oh, he's doing this, this, and this. I can go implement that into my other chatters. So how would an agency, KPI-wise, even personality-wise, training-wise, pinpoint their best chatter?
Yeah. One of the biggest factors the biggest KPI that we track is the average earnings per fan who spent money with that chatter. Okay. The chatter that has that higher earnings per fan, you need to do a little research into making sure that it's unbiased, meaning like the whale thing that I was speaking about earlier, that they don't just are lucky with a whale that spends on that time, that they're on shift. But typically that's not normally the case. It's a very unique one-off kind of situation, but you should recognize that and move that person into the more important shift. So in our agency, there's 3 shifts. We have the morning shift, we have the evening shift, we have the night shift. Typically, if you're funneling a USA audience, your morning shift is a bit quieter, your evening shift is a bit busier, and then your night shift is the busiest. So because of that, that means that your morning shift typically is going to have less earnings. Your evening shift is going to have a little bit higher, and then your night shift is going to have the highest, right? That should be standard. And then a lot of agencies are just saying that their night shift chatter is like, yo, this guy's fucking great. Well, obviously, he should be great. He's on the highest traffic shift, right? Most people are online at nighttime. But if we look at that metric, we can then use that because it is unbiased and realize that maybe the chatter that's on the morning shift, while they generate less sales, right, overall, they might be getting more money out of each subscriber. So we should move them simply from the morning shift to the night shift. And that right there can be 10, 20, 30% difference in your revenue just by making that little change. Yeah. And maybe that guy's got to go. Maybe somebody's got to go. And you got to know when to clip early too, right? Yeah. You need to have a baseline that's kind of based off of what other chatters on your team can do, right? If you have a guy that can do, let's say, $80 LTV per fan, right? And another guy's doing fucking 20, dude. You got to be quick to clip. Yeah. You just got to be quick to clip.
You can't be afraid to, I mean, it goes down to the very simple framework of hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah.
It's in the only way that your ability to be confidently firing fast is going to know your data points, going to know actually, okay, this is the logical decision to make here.
You got to be paying attention, man, to what your team's doing.
Yeah. Now, I think there's a lot of mistakes that agency owners make. And I want to get into kind of mistakes that we've made in the past. I want to first ask you, what has been your biggest mistake in OFM? Whether this is about, revenue, knowledge,
sure.
Anything.
I'll give you 2. I'll give you one on the marketing side and then one on the chatting side.
Okay.
Number 1, on the marketing side, bro, I didn't even think of short form content as like that important, dude. It's the biggest fucking thing there is, like, since sliced bread. Like, yeah. I'm so serious.
No, it really is.
Yeah, I didn't take it serious at all. I didn't take that seriously. So I wish I did that sooner, right? Like, that's why when we spoke about marketing just before, we really are just talking about short form content because that is one of the most important levers that should be pulled by every agency. So I didn't take that seriously. I thought, let's just do some Reddit. And then additionally, just not hiring chatters soon enough, right? I just didn't hire soon enough.
Yeah.
I did chatting in the beginning, right? And then even earlier on, like, not hiring someone to manage the chatters because I was just wasting all my time managing my own chatters.
Yeah.
And that's stupid amount of time, bro.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Of course, yeah. You have to eliminate yourself out of that. Like, the social media side, even, at a point where we're doing $250,000 a month, we're still in tune. Like, I can tell you exactly how each one of our clients is supposed to be portrayed on social media, just because that's something that we should know. And it's the bloodline of what we do.
It's everything.
It's everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's honestly my biggest mistake, is not realizing that. I did put high importance because I got into this industry a little bit later than you did, right? Like you were in the industry when it was honestly very easy. You can go on Reddit, you can go on, X, even these websites that like just were about people talking about sex stories and just post it, and all of a sudden OnlyFans traffic, boom, right? 10 grand. Now
it just spawned.
Yeah, exactly. Now when
you
I
can't
got
just spawn traffic now.
not at all. When I got into this, it was funneling into the more Instagram, that's the main thing to do here. And I think it was my ego was my biggest mistake early in social media. I didn't want to learn from anybody else. I didn't want to do content research 4 hours a day. I didn't want to understand what made a video go viral. I was in the 2016 OnlyFans ideation of just post yourself. You're
You
sexy.
also probably didn't know that. You should know that.
No, of course
you
not.
didn't have the
Like,
right questions.
That's the thing is I didn't ask enough questions and I didn't search for enough information from people. And that's a problem that I see with agencies all the time is like guys will come to me like, my only thing that I'm messing up with right now is my chat team. Like I want my chatters to be better. But you being arrogant/ignorant to the fact that you need to know more about social media, like that's the baseline. Like I get on calls with guys and they're like, I don't really need anything fixed but this. But then I actually look at their entire operation. It's like, bro, your social media is cooked.
Yeah.
You don't know how to scale an Instagram account. You've done this one time and you're repeatable now. No, you have to have a process. So my thing was me not wanting to learn enough about social media, which was arrogance almost, or not arrogance, ignorance to the fact that there was another side to it. And second to that was kind of basing off yours, was eliminating myself out of the OnlyFans. Like that's something I did at like 30K, 40, 50K. Like I waited I had chatters pretty early on. I did hire early, but I was managing every single chatter. Every custom was going through me. Anything that happened wrong with chatters didn't show up to shifts. The chatter was asking the client for a custom, had to come through me, then the client. And now it just happens in the background.
Yeah,
it just runs. It's a flow.
Yeah.
So that's a thought process that I teach to a lot of my students is any process that you want to eliminate yourself out of, put a pipeline on it. Go on Miro board, set it up simple. It's not hard. Block 1, step 1, whatever that is. Subscriber subscribes to OnlyFans page. Make it so fucking simple. Then welcome message gets sent, right? Create this pipeline, whether for customs, anything, and see where you're involved. See where you come into play. And then ask yourself, how can I eliminate myself out of this pipeline, out of this flow? And you'll notice you can eliminate certain steps. You can add maybe one step to replace you. And eventually you do that with enough processes in your agency, all of a sudden you're working 4 hours a day. And it's just from having a system that once did include you. Now that you've proven it worked with you, okay, now I just need to plug something in to replace me and have it still work in the same way. And that's what's going to allow yourself to step out of the OnlyFans and give your full attention to social media. Because at the end of the day, the agency's doing $1 million a month, $500,000 a month, $250,000 a month. We're only focused on social media. That's our main thing, is how good can we get at growing a client from 0 to hero on social media, essentially.
Yeah, and then just converting on that traffic.
Yeah. So in the conversations of mistakes, there's obviously 1,000 things that I wish somebody told me when I was at like 10, 30K a month. For you, what would you wish somebody told you when you were at that point that really could have escalated your growth? Or things that you maybe know now?
At like 10, 20K?
10 to 30K.
10 to 30K. Things I wish I knew?
Things you wish you knew. Things you wish somebody told you that either could have prevented mistakes or escalated growth.
Shit, bro, that was a long time ago. I'm just like, what the fuck?
No, I mean, it really is.
Bro, that's so long ago. I have no clue.
But like, I mean, it is hard.
I don't even remember.
It is hard to place myself back in that position and be like, what was I struggling with? Because now your brain knows it's solved, right?
Yeah. I mean, at that time for me, like, still didn't take social media seriously. I really didn't.
I mean, that would be my answer.
I didn't want to learn it. Yeah.
Yeah, that really would be my answer. I wish somebody like myself, like you, came to me and was like, Griffin, your focus, your job is not an OnlyFans manager. That's what you do, definition. Your job is to fucking know social media like the back of your hand.
Yeah, it's creator management, influencer management.
It is.
It's called OnlyFans management, but Really, the term OnlyFans management kind of just applies to the OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Right? We manage influencers. That's what you do.
Yeah. Like OnlyFans management, the term is carry on since, Tate started it way back in the day. And that was just cam girls. Get on cam sites, run hundreds of them, collect a small profit or big profit depending on the girl. And it's just carried on. And I think it's had a belief carried with it and leaked into agency owners who started even in 2026 of like, oh, I just need to care about the OnlyFans, the porn side, the sexual side of it.
Yeah.
And it's not the case at all. You're scaling influencers. You're getting creators on social media popular.
Yeah, it just so happens to be that the way we monetize it is through OnlyFans.
Yeah, it just so happens to be that way. And I think, if somebody were to come to me at 10, more specific, I'd say like 20K a month, because that's when I had like 2 clients making like 10K, 8K, something around there. I wish somebody came to me and was like, your full focus right now should be to grow their social media accounts. Nothing else. Eliminate yourself from the back end of the OnlyFans so you can have full attention on the front end. Because, I was, keeping a lot of my money and I would have reinvested. I should have reinvested it into eliminating myself past the paywall of the subscriber button, right? And putting all of my time and energy into understanding how social media works.
Yeah.
Because imagine if I knew what I knew now about social media at that point, a year and a half ago, that would have escalated. I mean, I'd be very confident that we'd be at, 500K a month right now, even more, because of that understanding and how long we've been able to understand. Because at the end of the day, I don't want people to get the false expectation that oh, you understand social media, all of a sudden it's going to be happening very quickly. No, it's a monthly process. It takes time. And if you want to be one of the earners doing $500,000, $1 million a month, one creator, it takes years even sometimes, man. Some of these girls, for instance, I don't know if you're familiar with Alessa Lopez. Have you heard of that name?
I'd have to see the face probably.
Yeah. But she was basically at 150, 200,000 followers. And she spent months. I don't know if she had a link in her account prior, but she spent months posting 6, 10 times per day, just focusing on this link launch. She gained over.
Oh, she's the one that had the.
I did
the
a
beach,
break.
It was the beach content, right?
I did. Yeah, I did it. She was always in bikinis. I did a breakdown of this on my YouTube actually, and she did 400,000, 500,000 followers in 3 months. I think 2 months of this.
Yeah.
And when she launched, the conversions just on if you were to take 1%, as saying the lowest metric possible, she still profited hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars on that launch. And that's the thing is, she understood social media. None of it was overly sexual. None of it was hypersexual. All of that content was to get to know her personality. And like I said, you have content types, for instance, podcast type, right? When a client sits down this way, acting like she's in a conversation, she's doing obviously it's tactical, it's scripted, it's planned, but the persona leaks through with that, right? It's the same way that Camilla, the reason she blew up is because she was so openly and unapologetically herself while doing viral things, podcast clips, street interviews, things like that, right? You take the content type that has already been proven to go viral, you implement your persona into it to imply who you are, get guys with common interests, get guys who like this type of girl, and then that's how you build a brand, is by using the viral elements, podcast clips, talking head videos, Snapchat, whatever, and then attaching the creator's persona into it. And that's what's going to make you a unique person in the market.
Yeah.
All right. So last thing here, which is, if not the most important, just so agencies can walk away from this video having a clear insight on where this industry is going. What do you think the difference is between the agencies that are going to survive the next 2 years on social media, management in general, etc., versus the ones who don't?
It's really the branding. It's the interest of making interest-based content in reality.
Interest-based content.
Correct. Yeah. Audience first. It's really what we just said before, to be honest. It's only going to get harder.
It's the ability to conform or the ability to not. If you will not put in the time to conform where the market is shifting, and I think the simple definition of pattern recognition is huge. Agencies need to be able to have extreme pattern recognition in the things that they do. Whether that's as simple as producing a predictive result in the OnlyFans as far as chatting, or as complicated as predicting where social media is heading and then jumping ahead and starting that early. It's pattern recognition at the end of the day.
In the sense, what you're saying is staying ahead of the game, right? How you know where things are going before the crowd does, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I agree. I think, but ultimately right now, the agencies that are going to survive these next 2 years are the ones that are very fucking serious about content. Because going viral is not the same thing it used to be, right? Which is actually when I started, when you started too, like we could have just had clients make ass shaking videos, post them on TikTok and make 10, 20K a month. Like that was a realistic time.
Yeah.
But those days are far gone. And so many agencies have relied on hypersexual content for so long that they never understood content. Like they cannot tell you why something went viral. When I say I do content research, I'm not sitting there just looking at the video and saying, okay, that's a dance trend, right? Like you can obviously find fucking trends. But when you just see a viral video that wasn't a trend, it was an original video, you knowing why it went viral is so fucking important. And if you can't explain that to someone, or at least to your fucking self, then that's a big problem. And you need to be able to.
It definitely is.
Yeah.
I've totally stopped teaching students about exact viral videos. Like my previous approach was understand Snapchat verticals, understand talking head verticals, understand that. And it's totally went a layer deeper into understand viral elements.
Yes.
Understand controversy, understand the human mind of why things attract certain people and why things attract a conglomerate of people versus a little people. Understand the way that social media works. Like you almost have to be the person behind the algorithm in a sense. You got to look a layer deeper. And I think that's what it is looking a layer deeper rather than taking a video at surface level.
Yeah.
And understanding it to a point where you can, like you said, describe it to somebody else. Like if I put up a social media video that had millions of likes, I could show it to you right now and be like, this is why it went well. The background has something to play in this. The hook, obviously taking that moment. Like you have to be able to understand that yourself just so you can reverse engineer that for your clients.
Exactly.
Because once you understand something, what can you do? You can predictively produce it.
It's a hard thing though. And
it is.
It's hard because you need patience. And when you're watching the content, it's actually fucking crazy because social media just creates so much dopamine in your mind, right? I think there would be times in the past when doing content research that I just end up scrolling and I'd like lose track of like what the fucking purpose here was that I'm doing. You gotta be a fucking nerd about it, dude. Like that's all I can say. When you're watching a video, you need to be so retardedly autistically logical when watching it that you like just understand why it went viral. Yeah. Like it's no, I don't know how else to fucking say
no,
it. No,
that literally is what it is. Like there's not a level of explaining it. It's just a level of understanding it and feeling it almost in a way. Like you have to develop almost like you said, that autistic sense of I understand the elements of this video and now I can reverse engineer them due to the fact I understand them.
Yeah. It's like fucking, dude, it's like being a coder, you know what I mean? Like you know how to write code, like that's content, right? Like a coder knows how to write code. You are an OnlyFans manager.
Exactly.
You need to know, how to go viral.
Exactly. Yeah. Put certain things together. Where do you think AI plays a part into all of this?
It's a weird question because like this just happened last week with the UK with what the fuck's the platform?
FanView.
FanView, yeah. With FanView getting a restriction for those of you, explain that for those who might not know about that.
So FanView essentially in the UK right now and eventually ultimately will spread to everywhere. Got a restriction to where their content now has to be labeled as AI, right? Because they do allow AI things on their platform. As of right now, at the time of recording this video, it is just on the page when you subscribe. Past the wall, no AI labels, but it is AI creator, AI label. I'm not sure exactly what it looks like. It has already been released, though, that
Yeah.
sooner or later it will be on every piece of content. It will be on every single message. If you do AI chatting on FanView, it will be in the content, in the message. It'll be everywhere, plastered, right? It's ultimately going to kill the people who previously didn't know. And the people who did know and like the AI, it's a very small amount of guys. So I think with AI, like...
And the guys that are interested, like, let's just get that straight. The consumers that are interested
they're not
in an AI model, or that you successfully tricked them, right, into thinking that it's a real girl on the other side, they're probably low IQ. And from what I've learned throughout life, low IQ motherfuckers just don't make money. Like,
exactly.
So like that's what, you're not going to get any fucking LTV on those guys. It's not even worth it.
I think the only way full AI OFM is just slowly but surely going to die. I said this when
I think so, yeah.
I said this when it came out. It's proven true time and time again. If you go watch one of my videos way back in the day, it's honestly one of my most viewed videos right now. And it's because I wanted people to think I was promoting AI OFM because it was just a huge trend. And in that video, I was describing how it is going to go up. It is going to get restricted during its top period. That's exactly where we're at right now. And then it is going to go down. And the only thing that is going to be left after that is hybrid, using face swap, using hybrid AI to make an influx of volume, an influx of professionalism for creators who are real, that have that persona, right? But as of right now in the AI space, we're at, I'm not sure exactly the number, but 65, 70% realism with videos. Obviously pictures are a different story, but once we get to a point where we can get to like 90% realism in videos, I think it's going to be very powerful for the agencies that already have an established brand, because it's going to allow them to produce more volume. It's going to allow them to get their content seen by more people, just because the creator only has so much time in a day to film, right? However, AI it should be thought of, in my opinion, as an additive to an already producing OnlyFans management agency. It should not be looked at as a backbone or as a key piece of the puzzle to this process. OFM is what it is, and it's going to stay the same for however long until OnlyFans makes some drastic change, which we can't predict. But AI to this hybrid should only be looked at as an amplifier to pull more people to this flow that we call OnlyFans management.
I don't think hybrid's going to be around forever. I really don't know. I really don't think that the consumer wants to consume AI content. Therefore, I think Instagram won't allow it on its platform, or will limit the amount of it on its platform. Right? It can't remove it as a whole, but
it could have labels.
Yeah, I mean, labels are one thing. They already have the labels.
Yeah, I'm referring on Instagram they also do have the labels, but more in a sense of like.
I don't think there's a video label though. I mean, you label it as on the video, but it's not like in your face like a carousel. Like you see it. It says AI label, but I really think that's. The consumer is the one who makes the market, right? Over this past year, there's been all this AI like bullshit on Instagram. I think people I'm just theorizing. Like this, I don't have proof of, but I would assume over the past year, Instagram has lost users. Okay, until recent time now, they're probably gaining users back, but I do think that like 6 months ago, Instagram was really losing users because of all the AI fucking bullshit that was on Instagram.
Yeah.
My Instagram feeds that I look at, there's way less AI bullshit, right? And we're talking about OnlyFans and just normal schlop, right? But it's reduced now. And I do know a lot of AI hybrid OFM guys or just full AI guys, and a lot of their accounts got clipped.
Yeah, I've seen that.
We used to run one really big AI model and clipped. Yeah. Just like the AI shit just is cooked.
It made tens of thousands of dollars the first month, then got clipped.
Yeah, it's just getting banned. Yeah, and it's not hypersexual because you can't even make super sexual content with AI. It's just the fact that it's AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of these guys are getting clipped.
I mean, I've seen it in the market. I have no reason to disagree with that. That's exactly where we're at now. It is semi-dependent on how good the AI does. And also these platforms, we can't predict the decisions that these platforms are going to make. We can only expect basis off of the previous things that they've done. And what they're doing right now between FanView, Instagram, we can see it that it is not promoting the AI. There is a negative connotation attached with these platforms and the relationship to AI content that they want to reduce as much as possible, or at least keep clean.
Yeah, I think so. I just think consumers don't want it.
Yeah.
Right? Like they just don't. And the consumers is what Instagram needs to survive.
Yeah, exactly. Now, wrapping this up here, I think we definitely dropped a lot of value. Obviously, if we went into tangible changes that agencies can make, this podcast would be 6 hours long. But we've been working on something in the background for months now, and we base this off of what we've learned. And I think a lot of why we're launching this is because after we lost that client, we had to restructure and we had to prove to ourselves that what we had was a predictive framework that produced a good profit, that produced a good result. And so what I'm talking about is Fantra Elite. If you're an agency owner watching this and you're making anywhere between $10,000 to $50,000 a month, even more, and you have been either stuck at this level, you have been unable to consistently hit those numbers, you have been unable to scale past that point, and you may believe that you're leaving money on the table and you're looking to take your agency to that next level, $100K a month, $200K a month, $300,000 a month. The wait list and the application for that will be down in the description. This is not a course. This is not a program. It is a consulting service directly with myself, along with Jason, that we've developed that we believe is the sole, I wouldn't say answer, but for a lack of better terms, answer to the biggest issues and biggest mistakes that I've seen agency owners doing. Because after doing my own program, just Fantra, for so long, working with, obviously a limited amount of people, but through this limited amount of people, I've had beginners, I've had agencies doing 30K, 50K, and I've noticed that the problems at 10 to 50K, because let's be honest, the first 0 to 10K is borderline the hardest. It's more so about the person rather than the business and the actual structure of it. Once you have that, plugging in a predictive framework that somebody like me and you have generated is almost guaranteed to produce a work if the right actions are put behind that framework. And so that's exactly what we designed in Fantra Elite. If you want to learn more about that, I have tons of information about it, but your first step is to go down in the description, click the link to apply into the waitlist. It'll put you into a private group of people who are only making $10,000 above in OFM. So you're not going to be sourced with people trying to sell you things, agencies that don't know value. I'm wanting to create a network, an exclusive group of people who have knowledge about OFM, who are willing to share it, who are actually making money, and the guys that are going to carry their agency into 2026, 2027 for the next 2 years or so, and so on and so forth. So with that being said, Jason, I appreciate you. It was a great time, bro. I think we should do this more often. I think we got a lot more stuff that we can talk about on OFM, not about OFM. But other than that, I appreciate you guys for watching this one. Any last words?
That's it.
That's it. I'll see y'all boys later. Peace.